I'm Steph from Stitching with Steph, and welcome to my channel. Today we're doing a brand new start, our week 1 of our Panda design. It is by the Spring brand. It is 11 count, 50 by 50 centimeters, and it consists of 15 colors. I do not have a link for this particular design as this one has been in my stash for a while, so I did try looking for one, but I could not find one. So for my subscribers, thank you for coming back today for another stitch with me. I really appreciate you hanging out with me and chit-chatting in between our Facebook group and here. If you're not a subscriber and this is the type of content that you like, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that like button if you like this type of content. Lastly, if you want to join my Facebook group and you're not a part of that group yet, there is a link down in the description. Just go ahead and click it. It'll send you right over to my group. Just fill out the questionnaire and I'll be more than happy to add you to my group. It's all things stitchy related, including questions and just chit chat. So let's go ahead and dive into this week 1 stitch with me. All right, guys, we're doing a brand new start with me. It is my little panda from the Spring brand. I decided I'm going to start up here on the leaves and kind of work my way down. So we're going to do this green color here, which on our key, it is color number 1, and that's what the thread looks like, which it is. See, it matches. It says DMC P164, but if you drop the P, it's color 164. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here just to get it started. I wanted to put something that is going to be an easy stitch into my rotation because I have a lot of larger pieces. And as you can see here, this is a partial. So this shouldn't take too long for me to get done. Again, I have a habit of starting a lot of big ones, which is shame on me, right? That's what I do. That's what I like to do, apparently. Okay, give me a second. I pulled the thread through it. There we go. So normally if my tail sticks out like that from my pin stitch, I'll kind of lay it flat as I go through and stitch over it just because it's a little too small for me to nip. Normally I like to leave it a little bit bigger, but in this situation I kind of didn't. So what's everyone up to? This is towards the end of the week for us. Yeah, not doing much, just hanging out with the family this weekend. Just trying to enjoy as much time as I can because my kids are young only once, I feel like. Not much else going on. Typical routine, doing laundry yet again. It's like, are we ever as parents, and not even as parents, as adults, or like, are we ever done with laundry? I feel like that's just an ongoing thing we have, right? As adults. Is like, it's just what we do. I'm going to pause you for a second because I feel like there's a knot or something on the back of my canvas. Give me 1 second. All right, I figured out where it was. It was literally right after my half stitch, guys. I was like, what is that feeling on the back of my canvas? And so in the process, I take my needle out from being threaded and I kind of use the tip of my needle to undo stuff. So that way, that's why I like doing full thread, like full stitches all the time, because I can kind of make it easier while I'm stitching. Give me a second. I'm going to bring this over here. Right there for you. All right. So yeah, apparently it was weird on the back. I was like, I literally not even 2 full stitches in. There we go. That feels better. I always, when I'm stitching 2 hands, I'll kind of feel my canvas on the back side to see what it feels like, right? Because I can't see it. So I'm going by touch most of the time. to make sure I don't get like any like knots or anything like that on there. But yeah, I wanted to do a new stitch, a new start of something that's going to be relatively easy. And as you can see, it's a lot of color blocking. And then when I did the review for this on, I'm looking at my paper here, hold on April 7th. So if you want to see this whole canvas in review, go ahead and head on over to my reviews, and it's for April 7th. So you just got to kind of look at your calendar and go back, and the whole review of this canvas is there. There's a lot of color blocking on this, so, and it's not a full stitch, so, or a full canvas. So see guys, I'm experiencing technical difficulties today. It's not a full canvas. There we go. So I feel like you guys can see better. I always rotate back and forth to see which hand you guys can see better with. And I feel like this time you're able to see better me stitching with my left. And I'm stitching more in the afternoon. It's about 5 o'clock here. The family's all hanging out. The sun's going down, so my lighting's changing a bit. Yeah. I had to turn my auto balancing white off because what was happening in some of my videos, like it would change the tone of my thread or my background if I put my hand into the frame. So I set it to where you guys can see everything and still have like good light, and it's not constantly changing colors on you. So, because I noticed it on, which one was it? I think it was last week with my May Stitch With Me, because that one has a lot of like pinks and yellows and purples and stuff in there. So yeah. Sorry, I'm moving my lighting closer because the sun's going down, so I don't have the luxury of the natural sunlight going on. Yeah, I have two like big box lights and then like one overhead, so that way you guys can see pretty clear. Wow, I was nowhere near that hole, was I? All right. Does anybody else like pandas? I thought this was a really cute image, so I was like, oh, I want that, so, and I want to stitch it. I don't even know how many whips I have in like in rotation right now. I should one day do a floss tube of like a whip parade, but to pull them all out, I feel like would be a little monotonous to pull them all out and go over them. I don't know. Maybe when I have a little bit of extra time, that can be one video I can do. It's just right now, I'm a little crunched for time. I can see myself doing that kind of video in the winter months, but right now during the summer months, it's because I have gardening thrown in now on top of like my channel and momming and being a student and working. I just don't know if I'll get to that this summer. Maybe. I don't know. If I find some downtime, maybe I will. But in the meantime, I'm just content stitching with you guys. I really do just enjoy talking with you guys. Even though it's a one-way conversation right now, you guys do like comment in the Facebook group, and you guys do chat in the comments here and ask questions. So eventually, when I probably hit around like 1,000 subscribers, I want to do like maybe some lives over on the Facebook group or something. I don't know. I'll figure it out once I get there. That's my motto. I try to plan ahead, but it don't always go as planned. All right, guys, sorry about that. I had to pause you for a second because I had to go do something for my kids. My one kid was ransacking the pantry even after him getting an after-school snack. So I was telling him about how he needs to be more mindful because he's very wasteful. And we spent a pretty penny on groceries this month, like upwards of $1,000 on food, guys. Like it was pretty bad. Like I won't lie, I was pretty sticker shocked per se, a little disappointed that this is where we're at. But I go downstairs and I'm like, why is there a half-eaten muffin in the trash? He's like, oh, I was full. But then you're sitting here asking me for chips and you're asking me for popsicles. No, you're not allowed to have any of those things for the rest of the week. So it's like, I hate having to do that, but that's the only way he's going to learn like his lesson of being wasteful. And it is my youngest. Like my daughter was saying, he grew up with privilege, so he doesn't know what it's like to go without, right? So I told my husband, like, we're just gonna have to buckle down with him because he's very wasteful. And I mean, it's disappointing wasteful, so now I kind of have to stay on top of him. But it's just like, you literally threw a half of a muffin out. Okay, well now you're not getting any desserts for the rest of the week. Like I'm not going to keep doing this back and forth with you when I've told you repeatedly, like you can't be doing those things. Sorry guys, I keep getting knots like on the backside and I'm not sure why. So that's why it's taking me a little bit longer on the backside because I have to keep on twisting it. Oop. Alrighty. So yeah, if there's one thing that I dislike is wastefulness, and he's just been that way. And the thing is like, it's not that he gets punished, but I think what's going to happen is I'm going to start having to take away the things that he does like. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just frustrating for me because it's like I said, we spent over $1,000 on groceries this month, and it's like, that's a lot of money to feed our family because we primarily eat at home. So you throwing out a muffin when it could have been like a muffin with like half of a banana and like some milk for breakfast is just frustrating to me. It's like, I don't know. I'm just venting, sorry. Anyways, yeah. Tonight, I think I'm making burgers tonight. And then this morning, I like separated out, I found these blueberry lemon loaves. There's a little cafe inside of our hospital and they serve Dazbog coffee and they do like baked items and they make sandwiches and stuff like that. So it's like a little cafe, you know? Well, they always have these like blueberry lemon loaves and I'm like, I know they don't bake these. Where do they get these from? So when we went to Costco, when we went grocery shopping, I found the loaves and I told my husband, because I'm trying to cut back my spending on coffee and stuff like that at work. So I told my husband, I was like, this is the blueberry lemon loaf that I was telling you about. So I bought 2 of them and I cut them up because I like eating those with coffee at the beginning of my shift. So yeah, it was nice because when I buy those, it's like $3 a slice and the whole loaf was only $6 at Costco. And I was just like, wow. And they probably get like 10 slices out of that loaf. So I'm like, I'm a glutton for punishment, apparently. Oh, I forgot to turn off my alarm for when I'm supposed to start getting ready for work. I always say that, and then on my last day, I'll turn it off, and then on my first day back to work, I'll be like, whoops, I forgot to turn it on. So yeah, this stitch with me probably won't be as long as my normal ones because it is just starting, and I am stitching later in the afternoon and I have to get dinner done here in about 30 minutes. So hopefully we'll get at least 30 minutes in. I hope. We'll see. And then I gotta edit a video to get that up and going today. One of my followers, she's so sweet. Earlier in the week, she messaged me and was like, "Are you okay, Steph? You normally post videos every day and you didn't post one the past 2 days." I was like, "Girl, I got a notice from my HOA because so in my front of my house, um, I have like flower boxes and well, they were dead from last year, right? Because I do annuals, not perennials, because they're too shallow to grow perennials. So I put new flowers in them every year. Guys, our last freeze just happened not even 10 days ago, and I already got a notice from the HOA saying you need to get rid of the dead plants in your planters and plant live ones, or like remove my planter boxes. So I was like, it hasn't even been 10 days. And then I guess then after that one, I got a notification that went to the general community. Hold on. General community, talking about how they walked the community and they noticed a lot of dead flower pots, like pots on people's porches that had dead flowers in them, and that people needed to weed their yards. You guys, my grass is still coming to life. It's still coming out of hibernation. And I'm like, so I very politely replied back saying, if it was the beginning of June or middle of June, I would understand the justification for the email. However, when the common space areas, grasses, and vegetation is barely coming out of hibernation, you should really hold off on sending out such offensive emails per se, right? Is kind of how I worded it. So I was just like, let me see if I can find the picture. I'll show you guys. So I sent her a picture and be like, no, 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 no. It's not that everything's okay. I just got a notice from, my HOA. Bless her heart. She's so sweet. I was like, I just got a notice from my HOA, so I had no choice but it threw a little wrench in my plans because I planned on doing it this past weekend and the weekend coming up for gardening. I was going to spread it out over a couple of weekends, but let me see if I can find a picture. So yeah, like here is a picture of, so I sent it to her saying like, I had to like plant some flowers per the HOA guidelines. They were writing me. So yeah, it was very nice of her to like check up on me. So I just told her like, oh no, it's not like anything detrimental. I just didn't want to get fined by the HOA. And again, they sent out one to everybody in the community because again, our last frost date just happened and I'm just like, ma'am, I was barely able to get anything in my back garden planted because our last frost date just passed like a little bit ago. Like you got to give us a chance, okay? Like we got our irrigation turned on. They came and dethatched our lawn for us. They aerate, because I aerate in the spring and the fall to help with my grass because it is so new. Still, it's only 2 years old. Our grass is only 2 years old, so I was like, that was a bit unnecessary, don't you think? But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. One of the downsides of having the HOA is it's nice because it keeps the neighbors in check, for those ones that let their weeds overgrow and don't clean up after their dogs. And you know what I mean? Like, it's nice for those situations, but it's one of those things that where I'm like, you do know, um, I always clean up after myself, right? Like in my pets, and our yard's always done. And we're on a corner house, so I'm sure that they noticed it more because we are a corner house. So I just didn't want to flip this over, guys. So I ran it back through here so I could stitch it under like so. Um, so I was just kind of like, really? That was just it was more annoying, I guess you would say, than anything, because it was just like, Was it necessary? No. I'm just doing that so I can start on a new section. But I was just like, God dang, just give me a moment, okay? Again, like I said, I'd be understanding if it was like June or whatever, but it's like, bro, literally our last frost date was just recent. So I was a little peeved, to say the least, because I wasn't planning on, sorry, that got stuck on my frame holder. I was more or less peeved because I was like, you didn't even give us like a chance. And like I said, the freaking common areas in the HOA, like where they're supposed to take care of, it's like the stuff is still dead. They don't even have the irrigation turned on. And I'm just like, before you go and point your fingers, maybe we should realize that we have 3 pointing back at us. It was just one of those things of like, did our parents teach us to give a little bit of grace and understanding? Because I kind of feel like maybe yours didn't. Not very much, apparently. So yeah, after I'm done with this video, I'm going to start editing my videos for the upcoming week. I always have videos in rotation. I always have some filmed. I just need to get them edited. And that's not the hard part, to be honest. I just got bogged down and busy this week. Again, school started and all that fun stuff. Not, I guess to some it wouldn't be fun. For me, I like learning, so I guess it's fun for me. My son is so loud. Like, I don't think he hears how loud he is, to be honest. He just cracks me up, that is all. With his hollering. It's like, do you think by talking louder, your friends can hear you more? Or what's the deal? What's the deal, sir? What's the 411? So I'll probably work on this cross stitch tonight after I'm done editing because I have an extra thread just hanging out over here. And I don't want to leave it. I might tuck it into the canvas. I don't know. We'll see how I feel after we're done doing this stitch with me. I try to post every day, but like I said, I missed the 19th, I think. I remember correctly, yes, it was the 19th. And then I started posting regularly on the 20th. So, you know how that goes. No biggie. Do you guys have a favorite animal? I don't know. I'm a big fan of wolves. I love pandas. They're absolutely adorable. Foxes. I like foxes. Cats. Anything like a cat or a lion, tiger, stuff like that I'm a fan of. I'll do elephants here and there, but I wouldn't say that it's one of my favorites per se. That's why I thought this canvas was cute because I'm like, oh, it's a little panda. Does anybody else stitch like on a stand like this and do two-handed, or do you guys stitch in hand, or do you hold your hoops?
I feel like hoops and Q-snaps are just too heavy for me. So if I'm stitching in hand, I'm typically stitching without, and I'm stitching in hand. I don't know. I was thinking about getting a stand. It's called a Lowry stand, I believe. They're kind of pricey though. They're like metal stands that hold like your Q-snaps and stuff versus a wood one. I don't know. It's one of those purchases that I would have to think about, and then I might ask for it for my birthday, to be honest. And it's like heavy and sturdy metal, and the base is heavy, so you can kind of move it around, and you can get extension arms and stuff on them to bring your pieces closer to you, or however you see fit, per se. This one's going along pretty fast. I'm a big fan of partials, guys. As you can see here, we're just humming right along. I didn't think this section would go by so fast. So yeah, whenever I finish here is probably where I'll call this Stitch With Me a Dunzos. Because I just don't want to start like a new section. I'll probably just park my thread there after I'm done filming and have this taken off of my snap frame. I typically use the same snap frame over and over for all of my Stitch With Me's. Oh, hold on. Because I don't do a lot of canvases, especially with me going back to school. I'll be doing several Stitch With Me's, but I think like 4 a week. I think I'll have to look at my filming schedule. So if you ever notice, if you get a knot in it, if you put your needle on one end and then pull on the other, like put it in the hoop part, like the circle part where the knot is, and then pull on one of the threads on the other side, they come out relatively easy. Ouch. I banged myself on my stand. I feel like that happens at least once a week in my videos. You are guaranteed to see in one of my videos me smacking my hand on my stand. And that's because this frame is I think it's an 11 by 11 frame. So I don't really have a wide area for me to like move my hands around in, if that makes sense. I hope it makes sense. So I'm moving my hands around in a 1 square foot, essentially, with a camera and a mic, and then the clips for the frame. It can be a little hazardous at times, as you've witnessed in my videos at this point. And then because the sun's going down, I have my lighting like really close too. So I feel like I'm under the blazing sun right now. No big deal. At least I'm warm. I could be cold, right? It is summertime though, so who am I trying to convince? It'd be better if it was wintertime. Do you guys watch any other stitchers online that do a lot of Stitch With Me's? I like people that do Stitch With Me's, not necessarily. I feel like Stitch With Me's and floss tubes get confused sometimes. Like I think of as a floss tube as like an informational kind of thing, like catch-ups, whips, new starts, any finishes, any announcements, stuff like that. So when I go to search like floss tubes, I'm getting not Stitch With Me's. And then if I click Stitch With Me, I feel like there's not like a lot of videos. So If anybody knows of any YouTubers that I should check out, drop it in the comments. I would love. You can drop it in the comments or shoot me a message, whatever you feel you'd like to do, because I would like to follow some other stitchers while I'm stitching. It's always fun to have company, which is why I think you guys watch when I'm stitching, because you're stitching along with me. But I would like to have somebody that I can watch too. And I like longer ones, to be honest with you. Anything like 30 minutes or longer. Because I want to be able to get a decent amount of time in on my projects. So all I'm going to do is finish this off like so, like I did on my other section. And honestly, this is kind of an easy way for you to finish off if you don't want to keep flipping front and back. So if you haven't tried it yet, you should try it, because look, see, you can't even tell. And then when you snip it, there you go. Looks just like regular. All right, guys, I think I'm going to call this Stitch With Me a done, and then I'll see you in my next video. If you want to hang around till the end for some little chit chat, that would be great. Bye-bye.
All right, friends, that concludes this week 1 Panda Stitch With Me. If you hung out all the way till the end, thank you for staying till the end and hanging out with me today. I hope you got some work done on your project. For non-subscribers, if you like this content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that like button if you like this video. To my subscribers, thank you for hanging out for another video. If you want to follow me on other social media platforms, I do have a TikTok and an Instagram, as well as that Facebook group that I mentioned before. My TikTok and my Instagram is stitching_with_Steph. And then, of course, that Facebook group is linked in the description box, and it's Stitching with Steph. I'll see you guys next time in either Stitch with Me or a review, and we'll hang out next time. Have a good day. Bye bye.